Can everybody hear me? Yes, who's excited to be here?
Excitement.
Come down here because I don't think anyone can hear you. Because those mics don't work. We have one working mic in a tiny room.
Alright.
Oh.
I'll try and get some AP guys in here.
Thank you so much. So, this also doesn't stretch very far. This is going to be fun.
Cuddle close.
This is Zombie Survival 101, the first of two. So if you know friends who couldn't get in with you, oh no, we're running again tomorrow night at 8:30? Whatever, it's 8 or 8:30. Check your schedule. I think we're back here, actually. So, awesome. Anyway, we are going to start, and it's going to be an awesome time. We do take questions in between panels, but please try to ask about what's already been shown, because we do go over a lot as we go on. Of course, you know, whatever. We'll field them as they come. Alright. I had this for a while. We are actually one of the few zombie survival panels out there, so yes, this is only a guide, but it's to help you understand what a zombie is, how to survive, and how to not play life like it's a video game. Because guess what? In the real world, there's not herbs, and there's not unlimited ammo in your lovely machine guns.
You ain't looking along fight.
No. There's nothing in there. It's an empty clip. I know it's an empty clip. Do you want to go and check that? It's empty. Yeah. But the survival ultimately depends on you and how well you're prepared for it. So even though you can count on other people, always be the one who's most prepared. Always think you're the one that's most prepared, and always prepare as if you need to be the one that's most prepared. Hi, Rebecca. Alright. Intro. Now we have helpful entertainment. Stuff that kind of depicts it, but once again, don't take it as a straight off guide. And not all cinema has been bad. Like George A. Ramirez Dead films are pretty much a good example of that. That's for the typical zombie, you know, slow shambler. Some of them, like, later films have shown the runners, which we kind of need to know, because I'm pretty sure not all of them are going to be shambling, brainless dead. Another good one, as we're going to personally say, is Resident Evil up until Resident Evil 4. Then that's when the zombies are replaced. But, when we started this panel, the best game at the time was Dead Rising. Personally, I think there's been a few that have come out that have been a bit better at showing it. I personally love Dead Island.
Yeah.
I love the Left 4 Dead series too. But
Yeah.
what?
Left 4 Dead 1.
We only have one mic. This is gonna suck. But good reading materials include Walking Dead. High School of the Dead is in my opinion. Of course, the go-to book is Zombie Survival Guide in World War Z. If you don't have those, go get those. Your library has them. They'll copy them to hell and back. It will be a great time. It will also cost you about 10 cents a page. My copy of the survival guide is highlighted, tagged, and then has notes on the tags. Yeah, I wish I had it with me. It's kind of ridiculous. It kind of became a novel all its own by the time I was done preparing for this panel. And now we have the food chain. And my voice is cracking because I yelled in the Mass Effect panel this morning. Of course, there's your plants, your animals, your humans, and then the zombies. We are no longer the top of the food chain. It's good to have in mind, and it's great graphic, and it always gets a few chuckles when I pull it up. Then we have, of course, the different types. I'm just going to keep going on until there are hands raised, unless you guys have stuff to add, so just kind of nudge me if I'm talking too much. But, different types of... Because cinema and Hollywood is always trying to reinvent stuff, there have been different types of zombies that have come in. The classic one is, of course, the slow-moving, which is what we're discussing because that's the classic zombie. That's what most people kind of turn to when you initially talk to it, unless they've only recently come into the zombie genre. There are also voodoo zombies, running zombies, intelligent zombies, and then supernatural zombies, which include zombies in space. Space zombies. Space zombies.
Dead Space.
Why did you switch her? happy on the end. Alright, but those are the kind that we won't really be covering. Question-wise, we will answer if you have questions about any of those, but for the sake of this panel and not running it over 2 hours, we're only going to talk as if we're talking about the slow moving. If you do have questions about some of the other ones, feel free, raise your hand and be like, well, in this instance, what would you suggest for that or whatever. We'll be more than happy to answer those. Once again, characteristics are slow moving. With the slow moving type, there's the lack of intelligence. They're kind of the all brains type. No need for sleep because, well, they're dead and they kind of just want to eat your flesh. There's really no way to communicate with us. They're all moaning. They don't really have their speech receptacles. They don't have the brain power for that. The ability to withstand many mortal wounds, like you chop off a limb, they're still gonna come after you. You shoot in their kneecaps, they're gonna crawl after you. Leon, do you want to tell them what they have to do to kill a zombie?
Shoot him in the head.
Thank you.
Shoot him in the brain.
But it's a headshot. Even decapitation sometimes won't really do it because the jaw can still move. So you definitely want to destroy the brain. So, and then there's types of outbreaks that can kind of occur with these. The type 1 is small scale, can be fought off with local law enforcement, with most of them dying except for the exception of 3 and going off in a helicopter with a nice little coward that flew away in the beginning. That's typical of Resident Evil 1, where it's that small one locale, starts in the woods kind of thing. And typically you can kind of destroy what's there in that location. Then it can move on to type 2, which is Resident Evil 2 and 3. I'm using those as examples because it's just easy to show this progression. And that's where the virus starts spreading into the city wide. And it's huge scale. Military can handle this if they care. Otherwise they'll just kind of nuke your place. And that sucks. And you lose a bike. And all some stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna start about the bike. Type 3 is statewide, possibly spread over a few 100,000 people. That's kind of how, it just progresses outward with this type of stuff, is that the farther out it gets, the different types it is. And of course, the other one is world overrun. Think Zombieland, where they're freaking everywhere. And that's where they're now the dominant species, and we're now the prey. So.
This one works.
Oh, yay, we have a second mic.
Magically just started working. It wasn't working a minute ago.
Oh!
Magic.
They came in earlier.
Hello? Yay, we have 4 mics.
It's my Wesker powered. Bam!
No, I think he got it.
Oh, there you go.
He was
Thank
kind of
you.
like ducking around down there. Like,
I didn't see him.
yeah, he kind of like ran in and ran out. He was a freaking ninja. Basic supplies. This is really important because these are the basics that you kind of need. Obviously food. We actually list the melee weapon before the firearm because the firearm has limited ammo. And when it comes in close combat, and if you're not that great of a shot, melee weapons are kind of a fallback, and they're a great fallback to have. They really should be, your melee weapon should be your primary weapon. Then you have your firearms, and obviously with firearms, call them bullets. And then your sleeping equipment, radio, flashlight, batteries for said flashlight, clothing, etc. With food, we kind of list it as one item, but we also include water with that, obviously. It's kind of a necessity line, therefore it is the first thing you should be concerned with. And we're going to go into these supplies in a more in-depth as we move on. Like melee weapons! Yay! On the top of this list is the one thing I never want to see anyone using. I need to plug in. Oh no. It's right over there.
Is it over there?
Yeah, it's right over there.
Okay.
I know where the plugs are. So I
You
just
got it
wrote
this time. I did it last time.
Ah!
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties.
No, we're just trying to blow up the building with a system-wide self-destruct. Everyone has 10 minutes. Go find the helicopter and the symbols you need to start it up. This is not a test. If anyone uses a sword and I hear about it, I will personally come and slap you. That's because a lot of swords that are produced right now are show. There are very few swords that are actually meant to be sharpened and used. Most of them do not have the tempered steel that are strong enough to withstand cutting through things. And even then, when they are sharpened, most of them cannot cut through bone and flesh and muscle. They get like a cut that, you know, on us would be like, oh God, I'm going to die because of this. But once again, it's not going to go through a skull. It's not going to go through the brain. And it's not going to keep you safe. Poles are kind of the same thing, but they're good to have. Poles, if you get them out of the right material, are good to have as something to kind of fling them to the side if you're on the run. It's a good weapon to have when you're moving locations. If only because you don't want to spend your time just trying to kill everything in your way. You just want to kind of push them out and have that distance between you. And it's good to set up that personal barrier if you know how to use it. That's another thing. Any weapon that you do choose as your weapon, train with it, know it, make it an extension of your body. If you do not know your weapon, it's not going to be useful. You can say, oh yeah, I got a machete. Do you know how to use it? No? Okay, go do that. Then there's saws. Fists are not suggested. That is a very bad idea. Very bad. Unless you're like in a full suit of armor, and even then I would probably stack you for being in a full suit of armor. There's bludgeoning weapons. You know, bats with nails in them are awesome. Yeah.
You said right materials for holes.
Yeah.
Like what?
Anything like really hard, like a full metal. If you're able to carry the weight, is best because it doesn't like snap or bend. If you have a really strong wood too, that's great. You just don't want it to be able to just snap in half the first time you use it. You know what I mean? Like if it can take several hundred or like even 70 hits without starting to like crack on you, that's a good material. It's something that you have to test for yourself because you have to test weight, stuff like that. For mine personally, he suggested bamboo poles because they have that flexibility where they don't really snap if you know how to wield them. I love those because they are a resilient material and they do allow you to push stuff out of the way, and they're lightweight for me. However, some people can use heavier materials that are sturdy and don't have that resistance. So it's kind of a test your own, see what you have in your area kind of thing. Anything else before I move on? Yeah.
What are your opinions on bayonets?
Bayonets, I think they're great if they're actually functioning because they're good to have as a defensive thing, and you have a melee and a firearm in one. I wouldn't suggest as your first melee, obviously, but it's good if you can get one on and have it. That's another thing. Any weapon you use, make sure it's legal for you to own it. You don't want to get tossed in jail when this stuff happens. Make sure you go through all the right channels to get your weapons. Make sure it's legal. What's great about bayonets is that you can actually fashion your own out of homemade items too. So you don't have to go get a military-grade bayonet. You can just see what works. I'm sure there's, panels for that, forums for that kind of thing. There's a lot of household items that you can use for that. And that's why I think it's great, is that you can kind of just strap it onto whatever gun you have if you make it out of your own material. In the back!
Modify a shovel.
A modified shovel, yeah. Once again, that depends on what the handle and the pole, like the support pole itself is made out of, because
it's just a standard shovel. It's just, all you do is modify it from a standard shovel to a pick on one side.
I'm just saying, at my hardware store, a lot of them have a wooden thing that I've broken just trying to shovel out my backyard. So you really have to test your shovel, but yeah, as long as you test it and you know it can withstand that kind of stuff and it's made out of a good material, yeah, definitely modify that stuff. For sure. Anything else? Yeah.
Crowbars, multi-tools.
Crowbars and multi-tools are great to have, not only as stuff that you can use as defense if necessary, but crowbars are awesome to open crap. And multi-tools are great for, a lot of things. It's called a multi-tool for a reason. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How about machetes?
Machetes, yeah, I brought that up. Once again, you gotta try and, train with them. But they're great if you have them sharp. They're great if you know how to wield them. I actually love the idea of a machete. They're great weapons to have. As long as you know how to upkeep it, keep it on an upkeep and, just generally use it, yeah, I definitely say that's something to keep in mind, for sure. That's actually my preferred one if I'm going for, a blade, so.
Easy to find, too.
Easy to find, too, yeah.
What about Walmart?
Breaker bars. Breaker bar.
I've never actually considered that. A breaker bar. Would you like to explain it? Because I can't even think of how to explain it.
It's a hollow tube. It's a pipe.
An oversized torch.
Yeah. I'm like trying to think of how to wrap my head around explaining that. So thank you for that. It's like, you can stick sockets on it. You can like attach a lot of stuff to it too. So it's basically, a pole that you can attach stuff to, which is awesome. Anything else, or we're moving on? Moving on. Someone else take this. My voice is dying. Can I have your water?
Leon, you got this, bro.
Firearms.
So we've got firearms. All right. Now I'm gonna tell you now. I know next to nothing about firearms. So one of the things I would definitely recommend, one of the things I would definitely recommend is actually going out and learning how to shoot a gun. You have your pistols, which are very nice. They're easy to conceal. You can definitely get permits for that sort of thing.
Not in Illinois.
Yeah, not in Illinois, I'm sorry. Come to Ohio, we're very great with giving anybody one of those.
If you get in Illinois, it just takes a while.
No, Ohio will hand you one like that. Seriously. And it transfers state lines most of the time.
Unless you live in Chicago, you cannot own a pistol.
Yeah.
Chicago will not let you own a pistol, but they'll let you own a shotgun.
Oh, man.
Now, as you continue, I would say shotguns, rifles, machine guns, do have some weight to them and some kick. Definitely do your best to learn how to use those, because I almost dislocated my shoulder with a shotgun. That was fun. They're very dangerous, so if you don't know how to use a shotgun, especially since it has that bursting ammunition that just kind of, destroys everything in its path, you're gonna hurt yourself, and that's always fun.
I will say this, however. I mean, it was my responsibility to kind of edit this, and I forgot to take off grenades because she just said acquire all your weapons legally. Well, I'm not sure you can legally acquire.
I don't. They're just on here as an option. Like, I'm sure when everything goes to hell, you can probably grab one.
When it comes to actual explosives, typically, it's rather expensive and you need a license. For example, you see people like Mythbusters that are able to use it, but they've got the money to be able to put into the licenses, and it is not cheap.
No.
Well, I mean, you know that making like a homemade bomb, such as a PVC pipe, fertilizer, and water, bam, there you go.
That's a PVC tube. Some black powder.
Please don't go and research how to make your own bombs. We don't want to be responsible for that.
You and me are going to talk about this when we get out of here, bro.
Another one we have on here that's a very bad idea is just kind of listed because it's what people consider as, oh yeah, this will be great, fire. Do you want a zombie on fire shambling towards you? I don't think so. In fact, I'm pretty sure that even in games I've caught myself on fire because of those things. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've died with Claire and Code Veronica like 5 times because of a zombie on fire.
It takes too long for fire to show.
Yeah, it does. And it takes too long to deteriorate the body. Yeah.
Actually, one thing to notice is that human flesh actually burns really, really quickly once it catches. The only problem is that it has a habit of catching everything else around it on fire.
The only problem is too is that what makes us like drop to the ground and like just sit there till we die is the fact that we feel the pain and we receive the pain and it shocks our system and it makes us go out. Zombies don't have that. They really don't have the same pain receptors we do. So while they're burning, they'll keep walking even if they're getting burned down to until it reaches the muscle and they can't move. That's what causes the problem.
And that's never fun.
Yeah.
For a ranged weapon, what about a crossbow?
If you know how to use it and it has a good range and you have arrows that you can use, crossbows are fantastic.
Ammo's too large.
Yeah, and you can reuse arrows and you can make your own arrows easier than you can make your own bullets.
So, now, the one thing about crossbows is having to load them. If you're not strong enough to pull the string, you're so screwed.
Yeah. I have a crossbow.
It took me like 5 times to actually load one arrow onto a crossbow, and I consider myself okay with heavy lifting and strength, and no. That was bad.
Anything else? Yeah, in the back.
What about sniper rifles?
That we kind of include that under the rifle section. The problem with that is that a lot of them have electronic scopes and night vision and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff is, if you can't maintain the electronically run equipment, it's kind of unless it's like daytime. But if you can get enough that you can know that you can run it for a while, heck yeah, get a sniper rifle.
Just watch out for behind you.
Yeah. Have someone covering your 6, dude.
Buy Russian. It has backup sights.
Anything else? Hands? Yeah.
Just for those that would actually like to burn things up, instead of just using, just trying to ignite them, if for some reason you can get your hands on something that uses white or red phosphorus,
Yes.
I guarantee you that will burn down to the bone in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, if you can have that, yeah. I just know that getting that kind of stuff legally kind of has like the FBI staring at you going, what are you doing? Yeah.
You never want to use an explosive or anything that can destroy your hideout or your allies or call attention to you.
Right.
Acid or phosphorus is just a problem.
Yeah, like I'd say only use that if you're like tossing it out of your location while they're like, on the streets or something. Yeah.
Can you just add a little note? If you're using a gun, try to make sure you have a silencer.
Actually, no, because the first things to deteriorate and the first sense to go is like hearing is very quick to go. So is sight. They actually more rely on sense of smell and like this weird extra sixth sense, I think.
I suppose if you are going to need a silencer, you're going to need a silencer because of other people around you. But it depends on how desperate people can get.
But it can also depend on the zombie.
It can depend on the zombie, but like I said, ears are pretty quick to go. The hearing is one of the first senses to go. Even as you age, too, hearing goes fast.
What?
I already have it.
Yeah, what? You have your hand up there with the watch.
Yeah, I've noticed silencers.
Yeah.
Contrary to what Hollywood has showed us, so when you pop a silencer on a 9mm, it goes peep, peep, peep. It actually still goes crack, crack, crack like a normal gun. The only thing that a silencer does is it keeps you from being the enemy from pinpointing where you're shooting from. They're still going to hear the shots.
Well, because it still goes supersonic.
Yeah, it's still the bullet.
Not a 9mm, subsonic round.
You need special rounds for
They'll still
subsonic.
hear you.
Yeah, someone mentioned subsonic. You need special rounds for that, and they can
Not
be
true.
Those are
Gun
not
rounds are all subsonic.
Those are expensive
That's why it's called a sub.
They're expensive.
That's why you save those ones for last. Conservation of ammunition is always a good thing. If you need to use your gun, then you probably need to run.
All right.
That's just, personal philosophy.
All right. These are locations, just in general of like terrain. There's the tundra. I'm going to say right now, you're probably not going to find many things in the tundra. The thing is also viral. If it's a virus, a lot of things can't survive in those sub-zero temperatures. So it's very unlikely that there's going to be something in the tundra. So, if you're really worried about this stuff and you like the cold, there you go.
Just buy a nice parka. Build an igloo.
Yep.
It'll work.
Then there's the rainforest. We're just kind of listing everything that's around the world. Rainforest would kind of not be cool because not only do you have zombies, you have things that are poisonous to just look at. So, yeah, I don't think I can survive there without the zombies. Planes are awesome for the sheer fact that you can see them coming, but they can also see you, so that kind of sucks.
Double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword. Then there's the savannah, which is, pretty much kind of plains, just with more deserty stuff. Forest is awesome if you like tree houses. The great thing is that you can get height on them if you're good with wilderness survival. You can stake out in a tree, tie yourself to it so you don't fall out of it, and just kind of stake out and move, when things are quiet. That's more if you're moving in smaller groups, like 2s, 3s. stuff like that. It would be good for a huge one. Yeah.
I have a question back to the weapons. Did you say anything about lasers?
Lasers.
Yeah.
Can you legally acquire a laser?
Yes, you can.
Well, I guess
Are you building a room where they go in cool diagonal patterns and cut everything apart?
That would be very impressive. I won't lie. I would want to see this room.
It's the problem. I'm not even sure where you would be able to get a laser that could do awesome stuff like that. I want one.
Yes. I see your hand up over there. Yeah, hi.
Oh, really? Oh, laser cutters, yeah. I'm sure you could adopt the laser cutter really easily to be some really awesome weapon. Can we do this? Can we?
I suppose.
Yes. Our house is going to be awesome. This is why I'm here. Can we make it into a room that makes cool diagonal patterns? No, I'm not doing this way. You have to know the code and you have to be friends. Let's see. After forest, there's of course the island. Ha! Dead island. Yeah, that would suck if it started there.
But if you can kill all the zombies in the island.
If you can kill all the zombies in the island, then you have a small paradise all to yourself. It's also a good place to go if you're in the middle of like something and you know that it hasn't reached past your like continent, and you're like, hey, there's an island over there. I'm gonna go there.
Sorry, you can't go to Hawaii though.
Oh. And then there's the desert, which, you know, is kind of just a big thing of sand.
The desert sucks. I lived in a desert.
It's very hot in the day and very cold at night. So that's not pleasant. If you can get accustomed to it, I'm sure it's great. Then there's the ocean, also known as I'm on a boat. And you need a boat.
Hey, question. Yeah, I have a question. What about zombies that walk underwater?
Zombies that walk underwater are not our friends. They terrify me, and I'm pretty sure some of them might be pirates under a curse. I'm just gonna keep making jokes. Pop culture references.
Give me the cat ears. What's up? Magic.
It depends. It depends. Most of them look blue because the air that goes in like the decomposition, but it also depends on what they were wearing when they were buried in, because some of them will have weight that will drag them under. And the temperature of the water too, because that will change if they're buoyant or not. Yeah.
If a zombie walks underwater, what's the current like help tear out?
If it gets caught in a current, yes. Riptides are awesome if they're in the ocean, because that just is kind of like, yeah, I'm going to go in this little circle that's all calm, but there's riptides. Yeah, nothing's gonna get to me.
Just be careful about zombies that aren't human.
Oh yeah.
Watch out for those zombie sharks.
Oh yeah.
Because that is never good.
Why?
Zombie sharks, zombie frogs,
zombie plants, zombie everything.
Oh god, zombie mosquitoes would be the worst thing ever.
I think the only thing well, at least with dogs, all you have to know is to avoid the Dobermans, because I think that's what everybody in Raccoon City owned was a Doberman. I saw a hand back there a little while ago. Do you still have a question? Yeah.
I do actually. Okay, say the ocean, it does get cold as you get deeper down, and the pressure would probably crush a zombie, seeing as how it crushes the human body.
Yeah, like, it would definitely depend on where in the ocean you are, whether or not that's a viable thing. If you go out deep enough, but that's also the thing of, you have to be prepared to go somewhere to resupply eventually. So that's kind of the problem with the ocean for me, is that you can't have an unlimited supply, and I wouldn't really trust eating fish.
Houseboats.
Unlimited supply everywhere you go, you have to still keep coming back and scavenge.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Are you Waldo?
Yes.
Waldo, what's your question?
Just something to add on to what you said. If you use a boat and you go out really far, one thing to keep in mind is if you have a single engine boat, that can actually be a lot of problems. If you have any engine problems, you're just dead out there as you are on land.
Learn how to sail.
Yeah.
Or swim. I definitely have one that can convert from engine to, wind sailing. I wouldn't have something that just ran on an engine. I wouldn't trust that. No. And even then, with air, I don't like the ocean. The ocean terrifies me. I can swim, but I can't swim that good.
I have more problems with my car than anything, so I don't trust myself with an engine.
All right. Any other questions before we move on?
Actually, I do have.
Yeah.
How would the zombies react in really hot heat?
The way a normal dead body would. It would smell to high heaven.
But wouldn't be able to destroy the zombie?
Yeah, it would deteriorate at the rate of a human body unless it's a virus that, stays off deterioration for a bit. But obviously, if it's normal deterioration, that would definitely work in your favor. But you have to keep in mind, it depends on the virus itself and everything too. Because if it's something that's infecting them and then staving off the deterioration, it's not going to help you no matter where you are because they're not deteriorating at a normal rate. Yeah.
Would you pick the countryside or a small city? Small city will at least let you pick up any leftover food. Countryside, there'd be absolutely no one.
See, I'm at the cool area of Ohio where you just cross a street and you're suddenly in the countryside, so I'd stay in Ohio. Because I have farmland behind me, and then right down the street is the city. So, Ohio.
I don't know, I think that's a little bit of a tough question for me. I live in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. Let me tell you, that's always a good thing, because that's the club scene. There's no food. I'm in a condo, so it kind of, I think I would prefer actually going out into country in general, just so I have a better, I think I would have a better chance surviving out in the middle of nowhere, because I know survival skills. But being in a large city that's very popular with tourism and very popular with I guess I would consider them a younger crowd, which makes me feel old. But I feel like there's more people to have to deal with, and I really don't want to deal with that many zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't the city be the first thing to go?
City would, yeah.
So I'm screwed. Great.
That's why you're coming to Ohio.
No, I'm going to be the one that doesn't. That's going to be it.
No.
I'll be subject 0.
No. Alright. With locations, obviously once you know where you're going to be located, you gotta start thinking about your fortresses. There are many buildings that can be used. Some may offer the best side where others are, kind of spelling out your death. Those that spell out your death are hospitals, churches, supermarkets, malls, one-story houses, and police stations. If you go to a police station, or a hospital, or a church, yeah, no.
Make sure they don't have a puzzle to get, No, if anything, hospitals are probably your own worst enemy. As much as I would recommend going into them and getting first aid, just avoid them at all costs.
And nurses are creepy.
And churches, some may act like a crazy, insane reverence that everyone would just kill themselves off, so they would have to basically.
The thing is that anywhere people would go for solace and, comfort during those times, or where ill may be, or where, if someone bites someone, they're going to be arrested and likely they're patient 0. You kind of have to be aware of where people would go during chaos, and those are the places you do not want to go. Has anyone, seen a supermarket when you first get the warning of snow of the White Death?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just snow, man. So, I went to Kroger's the day after we had a snow warning, and by the way, that was an inch in Ohio. And there was nothing left on the shelves. I'm like, did all the old ladies come here to prepare for the 1 inch of snow? Because it was seriously terrifying. So supermarkets are out because people will go and be like, I need all the food to feed my children and myself.
Think Black Friday.
Yeah.
In terms of the chaos and the panic. Think Black Friday with the best deals at Walmart at midnight.
Oh God.
Walmart, Target, Toys R Us, Macy's. Always fun.
Macy's in Ohio, not Walmart. You don't like the ghetto area, dude. No, it's a ghetto area in Ohio, man. It is legitimately terrifying. Like, I think I'm gonna get shot every time I go to that Walmart. No, it's a horrible Walmart. Like, there's one, like, up in a upper part of Ohio where I am, and it's nice. And I'm like, why are you a 40-minute drive? The one down my street is terrifying. In fact, I'm pretty sure the workers that are there are like zombies anyway. Places that are good, once the chaos breaks, and once, you know, things are kind of going to hell, actually prisons are surprisingly nice.
Bullshit.
No, as long as they don't have metal walls.
In terms of like getting in there, because once chaos breaks, they're gonna break out, and it's likely going to be abandoned by those that get out. You know what I mean? And guess what? Those people get they get 3 meals a day, 365 days a year. Guess how much food is in that place? Yeah. Think about those food stores. Hand up.
There's no way to determine how much food is left in prison.
That's definitely true, but it would definitely be one of the first places I would check if I'm looking to supply. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to go near the hot zones. And that would be one of the first places I would check in terms of, hey, I'm getting the heck out of here, but I need food. Yeah.
What about the inmates? Who's to say that they're like, okay, these zombies are coming after us, why don't we just take over this prison and make it our personal playground?
It depends on... I would definitely try and monitor it, like, before I go in, obviously.
You don't want to run in blindly.
And, see, lucky for me, in my area, we don't have a lot of, like, state penitentiaries or anything. Most of what ours have are, like, small-time criminals that don't pay their child support. So, you know, I don't really have a problem of going in there and finding someone ready to murder me. Yeah.
How are you gonna get in?
Magic. What's funny about prisons is that once people clear out, there's probably going to be keys laying around.
Or, you know, crests.
They're also designed.
I'm going to crash a truck into the side of the prison building.
The thing is that the best way to check to see if you can even get in that place is not on lockdown anyway, is to go to the visitor center first. Because if it's on lockdown with the guards or even the prisoners, it's going to be locked down and you're not going to be able to get in. But the visitor center is the best way to check that. You know what I mean? Because if it's on lockdown, you're going to know immediately once you get in there. Yeah.
2 bits about jails and prisons. Is that it's basically a 50-50 chance as to whether the inmates decide to shank everybody or the guards decide to shoot everyone. But the thing, they're actually a lot easier to get into than they are to get out of. But they don't use keys anymore, actually. Most prisons and jails actually use electronic locks.
Oh, that's exciting. All you have to do is break the electronic lock.
What do you need to undo this electronic lock?
Push a button. Yeah, that's it.
Really?
It's just a button?
That's exciting.
Does this button lead to a trap that will kill me?
No.
No, it's like an electric breaker. You press it, and all the security locks and everything is just
Well,
on
it's different buttons for different doors. It's basically you push the button, the door opens and unlocks.
I like that. I no longer need a key to get into a prison.
And so the only thing that you have to look for is electric generators to plug.
Yes, you sir.
Is it safe to assume that the power would be out wherever, whatever building you went to?
I would always assume that power is out no matter where you go. If you find power, you are lucky.
So electric locks are useless.
That means they're going to stay locked.
It depends. Some prisons, because of the electronic lock system, have their own generator. That depends on when you go to the prison, obviously. Some of them are even on their own power grid, you know what I mean? And if they're on their own power grid, it's likely they will still have power because they don't want that system to fail, you know what I mean? So, most prisons do have their own power grid. So you might...
Power grid last.
Well, the power grid is what everyone's on. You know, when your power goes out, it's because your grid shuts down. So, it depends on if anything cuts into the main line of power to that power grid. If not, then it could go on until, you know, the power plant shuts down.
There's likely numerous factors for what happens when the power, like how the length of time of power in general. There's a lot of things to consider. Placement of the power grid, how long the supply is, if it's decently maintained. So you can't. There's no real judgment of time. You'd have to hope for the best. In a situation of crisis, I don't think it would be reasonable to assume that someone's going to be there maintaining this power grid for as long as they can.
Unless it's military.
Yeah. Always expect the worst. Always.
And then prisons. After that, there's inner city schools, which are like prisons. I know, because I'm going to be teaching in one. Woo! Oh God. Most schools are like prisons nowadays if they're in the inner city. Like, I'm serious. Most of them do have their own gates. Most of them do have their own security systems. And depending on when the outbreak goes, you might, just find a school empty and devoid of children. Heck yeah!
Depends on the day.
Then you have oil rigs. It's kind of like, your own little private island with oil.
And then you can pretend to be rich. Like, I'm gonna make it rain. And then there's apartment buildings. Now, when you're in the apartment building, you want to gather supplies up onto a higher floor, and then kill every stair you can find that leads up to that floor. Because once you cut that means of getting up to that floor, you're pretty much isolating yourself. And if you know an emergency exit where you can drop down like a ladder or something, or bring a ladder with you or whatever, you're kind of isolating yourself in a safe zone because nothing can get up there. You can only get down. Once your supplies run out. So you kind of hoard it as much as you can. Obviously, if you're living in an apartment building in an area where you're like, yeah, I could get to like these neighbors, it's good to set up relationships. Don't let them know that you're like a zombie theorist, but let them know that you're prepared for like incidents, and then you'll be the one they come to, and then you'll be the boss, and it's awesome. That's a good thing to go tell your apartment like flatmates.
Yeah, I'm preparing for the zombie apocalypse. I need a team, and I like you. Would you like to join me? Yeah, that's a good way to lose neighbors. Then there are office buildings which are like apartments just without all the supplies and all the bathrooms and awesome neighbors. It's normally people you hate. So, yeah.
The issue with that is concrete stairs are very hard to take out.
Yeah, they are. You just have to know your means of how to do them.
I would also suggest a blockade.
Blockades work too.
Blockades, and if you have a fail-safe, like you can actually hear, like make sure your blockade has some sort of way you can hear
or
it.
Someone
managing it. If it goes down, you might want to know it did.
And then 2-story homes are a good defense because you can take down those stairs. So, when you do anything that has higher floors, like your office building or your apartment, or your 2-story homes, you want to find whatever system you can with running water and fill that with running water for the time being, because you don't know when that's going to go off. And of course, while you still can, you can replenish that supply and keep it running so it's not just stagnating there. But you'd like to have a supply of water that you can, boil, freeze, whatever, that you can rely on once that water goes off. Also, supply yourself with water jugs of awesome. My mom has about 20 downstairs, and she doesn't even prepare for the zombie apocalypse. I'm just staring at her like, heck yeah, Mom, thank you. So, yeah.
So, like in Zombieland, how they're just constantly on the move, what are your thoughts on that? Is it better to just be constantly on the move, or do you think it'd be best to just set up a fortress?
I think initially a fortress is good. Eventually the move will be necessary if it goes countrywide. The problem I have with the constant move is the need for gas for that transportation. Because you don't know when that's going to dry up, because they get refilled every so often. You don't know how quick that's going to tap out. You don't know how reliable that transportation is. Yeah.
Also, gasoline only lasts for a certain amount of time before it goes bad. Run your engine.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I left my car sitting there for 6 months.
Yep.
And I needed a new battery, and then I had to learn how to change that battery. That was fun. The one thing this is my fault because I'm smart and I forgot how to use PowerPoint. And it's the, was it just loading, or is that?
No, my computer decided to go to sleep.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, I thought I forgot to do something. Maybe I'm wrong. I think we're okay. We're just waiting for the computer to boot back up.
I think I'm infected.
Oh god.
Oh god. You gotta shoot it.
Now!
Well, we know I'm infected. Veronica virus, duh.
Right.
Jerks.
I have a question. Leon, where do you get your hair done? No straight.
I'm not a stylist.
I did it.
You did it.
Yeah, I did do it.
You did it.
I cut it.
Looks good.
Yeah, you do look like a prepubescent boy. I would know because, you know, I was styled after, you know.
You got the stubble gun.
Wait until 2013.
That's the comp. Yeah.
Good luck.
I figure I have a hand. Hi.
Sorry,
How can I help you?
But, like, back to the whole, like, constant, like, traveling. Instead of using a car, how would you feel maybe, like, using a bike if it's, like, a slow zombie outbreak?
I would suggest making sure you have something on you, like make sure you have any sort of like padding, because really, if that zombie manages to knock you off that bike, you're gonna get hurt, and that's not gonna end well. Bikes, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a hit or miss in terms of where you are. If you're in a city, no.
Well, in the event, there's lots of traffic, all mangled inside of the roads. It'll be easier to go around.
That is so true.
You just gotta be careful.
What the hell? It's,
Sorry, I forgot that we loaded Massive earlier.
My computer is...
So that was actually the guy trying to take over the space zombies.
So Harbinger is gonna be in control of the space zombies and have them attack her.
Yeah. See, my computer is a Reaper. It is a Reaper. Oh, come on, computer. What are you doing?
It's being slow.
I hate Vista. I really need to get 7.
You're still running on Vista? Oh, your poor computer. See, now Vista is your zombie computer program because it is slow and we don't know what to do with it. If you try to shoot it in the face, no. It just likes to get back up. It's like, hi, I'm here on Vista. Nice to meet you.
Windows 7 is...
This is why I was really glad 7 came out, because now my computer is no longer slow as molasses.
And now it's not responding!
Oh no!
7, it just randomly picks programs that will refuse to run.
Well, that's half the fun!
And are there any more
I love
questions while I'm trying to
technology.
get this fixed and running? It's the Russian
Got it? It's so slow.
So that was all my school stuff.
Are you having problems, honey?
Those are all my role-play apps for online geekery. And
I think it's...
that's my panel.
Thank you for putting up with technical difficulties. We kind of like doing this technical thing.
Open up PowerPoint.
Should have seen our technical sound difficulty earlier.
It's because Skype's trying to open up.
Are you serious? Oh, sad day.
It's actually be a good moment.
Plasma screen? It depends. I guess if the glass breaks, you might
Yeah!
have
No!
And love to play with
I'm trying again.
fun. Steve can't use technology. He's been dead for the last few years.
Yeah, you were the one that sent an email to Leon.
Shut up. I send emails. It's cool.
Woohoo!
Alright, round 2. Let's do this.
Transportation, which we were kind of talking about.
Nice segue.
I would love to have an armored car. I'd steal one of those bank cars.
See, I'm
Not just to
also...
have fun with the money inside.
I have a cousin that has a tank.
Jealous.
Yeah, I'm stealing it.
The only problem with tanks is you're not allowed to have a turret.
And those things suck gas like nothing.
Yeah, but I was playing like a cinnamon.
Well, they take 6 liters of fuel just to start.
Isn't that ridiculous? Oh, sad day. Okay.
Zombies in it.
Just go ahead and get this. You fix it.
You fix it.
I love technology.
Plugged in.
Technology happens to be one of my favorite things, especially when it doesn't work. Oh gosh, yeah. My favorite part is when technology doesn't work when I'm on the clock and you're just like, split and change. But
We found out what it is. It overheated everybody. We fixed it.
yes. Actually, you know, unfortunately, my zombies battle book is with my brother in Reno, and I don't know where hers went. But I think the one thing we haven't actually touched on yet, and I'm really sad that it wasn't listed in the supply list, is first aid. Which Rebecca is going to be really great on first aid, but I don't know where my slide went.
Did you put it in here?
I did. I don't remember where I put it. And like I said, I'm really bad at PowerPoint. I haven't used it. I haven't been in college in years. I don't need PowerPoint for what I do in life, which is retail. I'm in retail.
Did you sold your soul yet?
No, not until I try to take down GameStop from the inside. We'll see how well that goes.
Do it, they're evil.
I like GameStop, but at the same time, I'm like, it is. It really is. It's a love-hate relationship. I just, my heart, it breaks.
Yes, we know.
I love starting up things like that. Do we have any other questions for what we've covered so far? Yes.
My sister and I, Pikachu over there, we were talking about it. What would happen if we were to wear like heavy duty, like big rubber suit? Like the kind of rubber. What if those
If you could actually maneuver in that, I would be very impressed. I just spent the entire day in a dive suit. Let me tell you how that goes. And that was.
How did Jill manage it?
If you're actually in a padded suit, like I was thinking more like a whole bunch of shin guards and stuff. But what's up?
For a note, for any of you that have ever seen a chemical warfare suit, that's the general reaction. They're thick. They are very thick.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What branch of the military are you in?
Air Force.
Thank you. I love the Air Force. My brother was in the Air Force.
I've got the chem warfare gear in my trunk.
That's awesome. Thank you. I had a feeling you were in some sort of branch of the trunk.
But the thing is that this stuff is thick. I mean,
No, I wasn't. No, but none of my real siblings are in the Air Force. My goodness. I would love to see him in the Air Force.
You would best bring some kind of hydration because otherwise you're going to collapse on your own.
Oh, we did that. Never make a full bodysuit out of suede. You will die of dehydration.
Yeah.
We did that with Jill last year. It didn't end well. Bodysuits. You need to drink a lot of water in anything. Like I said, I had a full-on dive suit on earlier today when I was attempting to cosplay as Commander Shepard. My armor died, and I needed a lot of water.
You run around in something that thick. It
was warm at least.
Yeah, well, if you're in the middle of winter, you'll be fine.
Gosh, yes, I agree with this.
Alright. Oh, look, it's back on. Yeah, talk. Someone else think it was
Alright, look, it's back on. Hopefully it'll last this time. So we're talking transportation. You've got cars, you can be on foot, which I don't know if I would recommend being on foot for very long. It depends on the area. You have buses, which could be good for transporting large groups and running things over. Because I've almost gotten run over by buses a lot. I saw a hand go up. What's up?
Where would you drive such a vehicle?
Wherever.
Anywhere your little heart desires.
Could it go over the jammed traffic streets, or could it go through the woods? Like, where could you drive?
It depends. Are you going to a specific location? Are you
Anywhere
trying
where
actually?
there's not zombies.
You can probably, as long as learn how to change a tire. Because you probably very quickly need to know how to do that, and especially if it's a bus, you might want to learn how to change a bus tire, because that's not going to end well. I don't know how to change a bus tire. You have armored cars, which I don't see many of those. You see a lot of them for banks, you see them in the military. If you can get a hold of an armored car, more power to you. Those things are fantastic. And they're metal death traps if you light them on fire. Motorcycles, they're good for being solo. In my opinion, you could probably like attach a pole arm to it and just drive. Knock zombies down as you drive.
I saw it work for Alice.
That is true.
Okay.
Oh no.
And bicycles, we did just cover this. I don't think
You know,
I would
as long as I don't
recommend
make you
bicycle,
uncomfortable,
and
I'm
that's just
sorry.
my opinion on it, because I have this bad feeling I'm gonna get eaten.
Dude, I totally ride a bicycle.
Good luck.
I put a card. I put a card on.
I would be impressed. Yes. Hand
Bikes
back.
are silent, lightweight enough for you to carry, and they have infinite fuel.
That
And
is
they can go through traffic.
Now what happens when you run out of that fuel?
You
Because
die.
you would probably.
Bikes are U-powered. If you don't have
Yeah, well,
fuel,
if you don't have you, what's gonna happen?
you're down. You can bring your bike to safety and ride it through a traffic jam.
I suppose.
And on downhill. Bikes are temporary weapons too.
Oh, go ahead.
If you are using self-powered form of transportation, you have to feed yourself whatever you're burning to feed yourself.
And if you are running, if you're also exhausted, you want to make sure that you're going to stop without zombies. I think that's going to be a given. I saw a hand up. Go back here.
Yeah, bikes keep you in great shape.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that?
Bikes keep you in fantastic shape.
That is very true.
Very important.
I miss my bike.
Anything else? Yeah.
What about those like inflatable hamster ball things?
I
Yeah.
would really like to see you roll around in an inflatable hamster ball. That could be, I don't know, you could probably mow down zombies with it until it deflates.
What about a Segway?
If you actually have a Segway during a zombie apocalypse, I might have to take pictures. What's that, Hunt?
How about a helicopter?
A what?
Helicopter.
Can you pilot it?
Let's see.
There you go.
If you can actually, if you fly a helicopter, you're gonna have to make sure you know where you can get fuel for it. You're gonna know how to fly it, how many people can fit into it, and you gotta go watch for the blades.
And you gotta know how to land it too.
Yeah, planes, helicopters, those can. If you have a pilot's license and you know how to pilot it, good luck. They probably. I don't know. I don't know how it would fare in a
You
helicopter.
also have to know where you can land it safely. And it would probably be a good idea that if you're not the one flying, make sure your pilot is not named Brad.
Oh,
But no, helicopters are good, dude. Like, if you know how to fly them and everything, they're really good for quick transportation that's off the ground. You know what I mean? But the problem is making sure you can have it fueled, knowing where you can land it, and being able to pilot it.
They do consume a lot of fuel.
They do.
Yeah,
And
they
you
do.
also gotta, like I said, you have to make sure you know how to pilot these things. If you don't know how to fly a plane or if you don't know how to fly a helicopter, you're screwed. I was gonna say something else and it was probably not appropriate.
Your biggest trick is landing them.
Yes,
Flying them
landing
not so
is
hard,
tricky.
Landing them, a son of a gun.
I cry every time I'm in an airplane and land. I really do.
What about a blimp?
A Zeppelin? Really? Good luck. Finding a Zeppelin in this day and age,
There's a lot of blimps like attic and stuff.
Pogo stick. I'm so there. Huh? I don't trust helium. Shh. I'm watching too much Archer. Oh goodness. Alrighty. What happened to my medical slide? Oh, I think it's after this one. Okay.
Your question real quick before we go on.
About the transportation, I do remember like somebody, one of my friends, they talked about horseback riding instead of like something. So what would be your thoughts on that?
If the horse is
watch
a
The Walking
zombie.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how that's the
They
answer.
used the horses in the comics and they were fine for a while.
Oh, that's what you said for a while. So once they become a zombie, I would run.
Well, they used it.
Zombie horses.
Spoiler alert, they used
Oh,
to be
dear.
like the little community in Washington. And then they were fine.
Like
It's a horse.
It's a horse. I would.
going through time.
I see a hand.
Horses are also startled by the noise, and they don't like running into people at all. So
have a lot of upkeep.
I'm sorry.
You're right, they do startle easily.
and they will probably knock you off and get
Yep.
swarmed by zombies.
And they also have a lot of needs. Yeah.
Source. That is
A good one.
Alright, I'm gonna go razor scooter.
Maybe.
Notice the horse.
You can also use a razor scooter as a weapon. Just kick it out from under you and swing it. So you can probably use a razor scooter. I have killed myself on those before. They're fun.
Working together.
I have a scar on my ankle from this.
Someone take this because I'm losing my voice.
Okay, working together. Teamwork.
What's teamwork? You're the one saying everything.
Well, I really don't like including you in my things.
Oh, you have a mic, dude.
I'm being rude.
Just jump into it. Talk.
That's what I'll do every time.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, I didn't want to talk now. You have the
You bring
floor.
it up when you don't want to talk.
So, small groups. I can't even read the slide anymore. I'm like staring at it from a distance, going at an angle. So okay. No, I'm good. So small groups are ideal for movement against the
Don't
undead.
just read from the slide.
I'm not. I'm just staring at it and giving ideas. I'm forming things.
Obviously,
Trust is going to be no. Shut up. Trust is probably going to be your biggest issue through this whole thing. If you don't trust who you're with, you're so dead. You have to know how to trust the people around you and talk to them, even if you don't know their entire personal history or their backstories. You know, at least you know that you can trust them not to shoot you in the back, and trust them to shoot you when you start turning into a zombie. Small groups are pretty good, in my opinion. You've got to keep close together, and if you have too large of a group, you're going to draw too much attention to yourself, and there's more of a chance something will go wrong. Food is always a touchy thing when it comes to large groups of people in a small confined space. Take Survivor, for instance. If they get food at all, they will fight over it.
This isn't going to work like Left 4 Dead, and if you have someone in your group named Coach, you know.
So you do have someone in your group named Ellis. Listen to the stories. Shifts are a really good thing. You learn a lot about taking shifts like through the night, like kind of keeping yourself aware. No sleep schedules. If you're on the move and you have the entire night to be in one spot, try to set up a couple hours at a time, like actually getting sleep. You only need a few hours of sleep to actually function. That's the good news. 8 hours of sleep is usually recommended, but 4 hours is just enough to get you enough energy to keep moving. I know I've lived off of 2 hours a week, so. Okay, a day. I was exaggerating a little bit. Just a little exaggeration. I don't know if I have any sanity left. Does anyone have any questions so far? I saw a hand go up, and I apologize. Did you still have a question? Yes.
What's the ideal group size?
Ooh.
4 to 6.
I was 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
You got your mage, your wizard, your knight. I saw
Oh dear.
Yes.
Speaking about like more than just trust that goes along with having a group, wouldn't there also be tension with emotions sometimes? I mean, wouldn't that play?
Do you have a lot of feelings? And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You get that all the time. You have to have a lot of activities to keep your mind off of death and suicide and depression. And also, since you're going to have limited access to contraceptives, you have to limit the amount of sex you have so you don't get someone pregnant.
I'm so glad we don't have that.
No, I will not limit that.
I won't have that problem.
It's against the code.
I think there's emotional issues and detachment are going to be very interesting because you have to detach yourself anyway because you're surrounded by zombies, guys. Are you really going to try to fall in love with somebody in the middle of a zombie crisis? All of those novels and movies that you read?
Yes.
I don't know. I think it
would. The whole love thing, I would.
I love you.
No, she's right though. Like, really, I mean, I know life and death situations kind of bring that to the forefront, but at the same time, is that really going to be on the top of your mind? Really?
Love is complicated.
Love is complicated.
Don't say.
I have a complicated love relationship with chocolate, so. I mean, I have a complicated relationship with you too, so you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know, I think emotions, you just need to put them aside. If you can, I'm gonna, I love you.
I think honestly,
speaking
as
of
far as
complicated
like
love.
activities to do in a zombie apocalypse, the world is basically your oyster. There's nothing you can't do in a zombie apocalypse as long as it doesn't compromise your safety.
Okay.
So you can find all kinds of crazy ways to entertain yourself and keep yourself from blowing your own brains out or blowing out your best friend's work.
You mean like Dead Rising, where you go around like finding a lightsaber that just goes through and just like stuff them?
Like that, you know, like.
Or like Zombieland, where you take over the entire amusement park.
I can't play mailbox baseball anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or just stand on top of a building and just start hitting golf balls off the top of the roof. Yeah, like I allegedly, find like all kinds of crazy things to keep yourself occupied. But like I said, make sure that it doesn't compromise your safety.
Actually, that's a very good movie to suggest just to look for stuff to occupy yourself. I Am Legend, as long as you're not depressed about animals dying. I cried like a little girl during that movie.
That would be awesome.
Yes, I see a hand.
Let's tag with the zombies.
You are a braver man than I.
I can't even picture that just running up. Tag, you're out.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yes! Yay! First aid, your turn. Get Mike. Okay. Get Mike.
Here. Oh, you got one. Sweet.
Yay! Oh, you improved it.
We added to it.
Yeah, you improved it.
Okay,
I did improve it. I got bored. I wanted to write something that wasn't just be prepared. I almost actually did start singing that song when I wrote
Let's
this.
see what you wrote. You hadn't seen it.
I just did the very basics. I like very short. First things first, forget everything you learn from video games. Like Resident Evil. Do not pick up random meat or random eggs you find on the ground and eat them.
They're also not good weapons. This rotten egg that you've been keeping for like months, yeah, you throw that at a zombie, and what you're gonna do is make it smell. It will not kill them. The most achievements you're gonna get from that is possibly dying.
Herbs?
What about herbs, Rebecca? Yeah, come on.
Only if you know what to do with them. If you have,
Well, duh. The obvious answer is that they're all getting high during that entire game.
Wow.
Probably.
The zombies are all just weed grapes.
To be honest, honestly, that's my theory for Resident Evil, because really, random plants, guys.
Random plants.
Really?
Everything from like twisted ankles to body bites.
This is what we call the Capcom logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first aid spray that cures everything. Where is that?
Still in development, I believe.
Alright.
Just watch out for Umbrella Corporation. It's umbrellacorporation.jp. It's a real website. Go there.
For real?
Yeah, it is. And it's computer programming, and they're looking for translators.
And they have the same logo. It's just a blue.
Are they hiring?
They are hiring.
They're looking for Japanese and English translators.
Continue.
Okay. Get first aid training. The American Red Cross offers first aid training as well as CPR. It's at almost any place you're at, they offer it. It's about $1,500 per class. It's one day class, gets you completely certified. You learn all sorts of cool things. Do it. I'll be getting my training this summer. Takes one day, 6 hours. That's it. You know everything. And lastly, be prepared. They sell first aid kits. I would suggest each person having at least the family size pack. It's about this big, give or take. They make really cool ones that you can actually strap on.
They make Hello Kitty first aid kits.
They do make Hello Kitty first aid kits. I don't know if they're big enough though.
Yeah, they're pretty.
I kind of want one. Yes?
Each first aid kit is different. You should sort through to make sure it has what you need, to include medications.
Yeah, make sure you have all that stuff. Also, with the zombie apocalypse, most first aid kits have 1 or 2 pairs of latex gloves. I would suggest a lot.
Buy a buttload of latex gloves.
Why don't you just use regular, like, maybe,
rubber gloves might work.
Oakley gloves. Oakley gloves would be perfect.
Anything that keeps liquid away, because honestly, any sort of bodily liquid can be dangerous. Not in the zombie apocalypse. In the zombie apocalypse, any sort of human liquid is about 3 times as dangerous.
Well, the reason I say Oakley gloves...
Treat everyone as if they're infected.
The reason I say those because they're really, really sturdy, and they're really, really hard to rip and tear, and they're also fireproof. So it's like...
Will liquid stain them and get into them?
They're waterproof and fireproof. So it's
Are they waterproof? Can liquid stick to them though? Because if you get...
No, it comes right off.
Comes right off? Okay.
It comes right off. It's just because I've had it wet before, yeah.
Another thing too is outside of the general first aid kit is to look for stuff that is included in the first aid kit but you know you need more of, and to supply on that, because first aid aisles in grocery stores and stuff are amazing nowadays.
Oh, they're so much fun.
They're awesome. I think I bought like so many first aid stuff because I cut my finger open while cosplaying. Yay. Yeah, I got very friendly with the first aid aisle this past week. I sliced my finger open. That was fun. So yeah, me and the first aid aisle got very friendly this week.
She in the hospital got friendly this week too.
Oh yeah.
You had a question?
Guys, if you suggest hitting up a Walgreens or a CVS before you head out?
If they're not overrun, yes. The best thing because they do carry quite a bit of first aid supplies. I personally prefer having Spider-Man Band-Aids. I actually prefer my like stupid kid Band-Aids because they're cute, but they don't really cover a lot of space. I would really recommend gauze. Gauze and those really thick pad things.
Quick clock.
Good. If there's medication you need, yes. If you do not need it, do not hop it.
And don't take the medication that is not for you, because that always ends badly.
The whole thing was you talked about, my friend actually just said right here, he said, you know, it's like you said, those kitty band-aids, it's also a psychological thing. Like, you can look at it kind of like, oh, Spider-Man, I'm not insane anymore. It's the little things that matter.
That was actually the last slide.
It's the little things that matter.
Good news.
No.
Time to get a walk. I made a fun.
If you actually get splattered with blood, don't lick your lips. And I'm not saying this just in terms of zombie apocalypse. I mean, in general, don't lick your lips. You have to dab it. If you don't smear it either.
Sanitation.
Oh, sorry.
It's a mic sound. Yeah, always keep everything sanitary, keep everything clean, be OCD if you have to. Going back to the whole water thing, boil your water. Keep the hand sanitizer as much as you can. But because if you get sick while the world is ending,
that would be the worst.
Yeah.
And if you get sick, people are going to start thinking you're infected anyway.
Like I said, that could be the worst.
And since that was our last slide, we generally go to questions to wrap up our panel, which we keep going with. So if there's any more, keep them coming. We have about 40 minutes.
We have time. Ask me questions.
We actually blew through our slides a lot quicker than we normally do. Mostly because I've been trying to conserve my voice since we have to do this tomorrow. But they don't have to be just about the survival stuff. If you have questions about certain media to reference or any media that you've touched on that you think are great references, bring them up. Just show of hands, yeah.
Even though it doesn't deal with zombies, the show The College is a good example.
The Colony.
It is. I agree. Survival. Yes.
Oh yeah, Avon. All of their supplies are starting to look like Resident Evil products, and they terrify the heck out of me. My mom orders from Avon, and I keep staring at the box every time it comes in. I'm like, what did you order, woman, and why are you ordering this?
Avon actually cooperated with Capcom, and one of their beauty supplies for anti-wrinkle cream is actually in a tube like it is in Resident Evil. It looks like the T-virus. So, be careful with
Avon. For the movies, too. All the makeup commercials you've seen, they weren't done by the movie company. They actually went to Avon, and Avon did it with their marketing department. Yeah, aren't they awesome?
Oh, you had a question?
Yeah, sure.
Personally, I actually don't think it's going to be a virus. I actually think it's going to be a fungus. There is a fungus that's in South America, South Africa, that is infecting ants right now. And what it does is it infects the ants, and it does something with the nervous system of the brain. It makes this ant crawl all the way up to the top of a tree and die. Once it's there, the fungus grows out of its head and starts the system all over again. These ants turn into zombies and they crawl away.
This is also known as cordyceps. There are many different forms of cordyceps. Who was the one who asked this question? Was it you? There's many different types of cordyceps for different types of ants. And it's like one form of cordyceps will not affect a different one that it's not meant to. But they just recently found a zombie ant, supposedly like an actual one, and it'll bite and infect the next one, the next one. Now that is not cordyceps. That is something I still have yet to read into. But
if you don't mind me cutting off the one real quick a second, this man is actually going into virology. So, he knows what he's talking about.
Cosplays Albert Wesker. How safe are we?
I don't think that's really promoting at all. So, I just needed to say that, just point that out that he's...
well, like when everybody's like, when you see blood, it's like, isn't that disturbing to you? I was like, you're talking to someone who wants to experiment on humans for a living. No, not at all. And what were you saying? You were saying something else.
Oh no, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Go back to yours.
You go to your zombie ants that are fun and exciting. I'm really nervous about these because it's to the point where it's like you hear more and more about it. We already knew that there's thousands of insects out there.
They're like Africanized bees. Like they've moved up pretty far, and they'll spread out.
It'll be fun. We'll get zombie ants in the States eventually.
There's a coming out called I Am Alive, or not I Am Alive, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us looks interesting.
That actually kind of touches on that whole fungi theory of the zombies coming from a fungi.
That's why I'm looking forward to it.
That's kind of what's happening.
Because Naughty Dog is awesome and does research.
Yeah.
Unlike Capcom.
Yes. The gentleman behind you, then you.
Okay.
You.
How much is water a deterrent?
Water as in like rivers in the lake or more of bottled water?
Rivers. Kind of like if you go to the other side of the river, sometimes zombies are scared of water, sometimes they'll walk through it.
It might slow them down. It depends on how fast the river is flowing, where the river is located, and what's around it.
They're going to try to get to you.
They will try to get to you, but if the current's moving fast enough, it might sweep them away. But you have to be careful yourself going through it.
The thing is that I don't think it's much of a deterrent either. The thing is that zombies are driven by this hunger and this thirst. They're not like a dead hand that's kind of been sent there, and thus it has like some mystical property where water deters it. They don't have a fear of water in any sense. I don't think, because they don't have a mental capacity for that fear. The thing is that dead that you see as having that fear are normally those that are re-raised and still have some mental capacity and something like that. Those dead hands are often ones that have a fear of the river because of the river of death. It's a whole literary thing. I'm an English major. So, but most dead that we're talking about as zombies do not have a mental capacity. They only have the animalistic hunger. So there wouldn't be that fear. Unlike animals that can be afraid of water and everything, they only have that hunger. So that's their driving force, and there's really no need for that fear in their system.
So this guy.
Yeah. I think what he was getting at is if the zombies themselves were derivative of rabies, there is a common belief that they have hydrophobia, where they're just basically afraid of water.
Carry a bottle of water with you then. I'm just gonna throw it at them.
That's interesting. I've never actually heard that.
Yeah, I've not actually heard that either.
I've studied the disease of rabies, but
Do you have a question?
It's not backed by anything.
In regards to
no, I don't want to. I was gonna say, I was like,
Just the science.
They can climb down the stairs, and I mean by fall. But I don't know about climbing up the stairs.
The thing is that you always want to cover all your bases. You don't know what you might encounter. And it's possible that even if they can't climb them, you've seen kids and animals can crawl upstairs. Even if they can't walk up them like we do, they can probably crawl their way up.
If the zombie apocalypse is big enough and there's a lot of zombies, they'll start coming on top of each other.
That's not good.
At that point, you want to get the hell out of there.
Whoa, wait. This guy right here. If you like grease the stairs or like
Make a Home Alone for zombies?
Oh, snap.
slide right down.
There goes your entertainment.
Yeah, there's your entertainment right there. God, my voice
I
is
think I have to
going.
play Home Alone and watch it when I get home. Yes, honey.
I know you said you were from Florida. Would you ever find hesitation to go to some place like Everglades where there are other critters like crocodiles that'll take care of the zombies?
I'd be too afraid to get eaten by the crocodiles myself. Actually, the worst part about living in Florida is gator mating season. Because they're everywhere and on the roads, and it's terrifying. So I don't want to mess it up here.
If you're capable to deal with them, it's okay if for somehow you know that the virus isn't species trained.
The zigzag method does not work. Don't run in a zigzag; they will crash.
Bonus though, most animals will avoid zombies, most likely.
Yeah.
But they may go after you. Then we're all screwed.
well, you saw in Resident Evil Extinction how all the crows like screwed up that bus. Like, it's pretty hard.
We don't count Resident Evil.
We don't count the movies.
That's just
that woman is about useless.
The biggest canon for zombies is World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide. And according to that, their skin is toxic, so no bacteria or animal will dare eat them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we normally reference. And like I said, even if they did eat them, I'd be terrified that the virus would transfer. You never know with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know, someone
brought up, but you never know about mutations too. I mean, look at bird flu and stuff like that. You know.
No.
I gotta say, someone brought up mosquitoes earlier, and now I'm suddenly scared. Zombie mosquitoes. It'd be like the zombie moths that you encounter.
Well, you said it wasn't provable, but
I tried. I don't like mosquitoes. I already get. Okay, no, I can handle spiders. I used to own them, but zombie mosquitoes. I don't know.
Zombie Australian spiders.
Anything else? Them.
That are this big?
Yeah, I had tarantulas.
Never again.
I'm not allowed to have tarantulas anymore.
Yeah, your fiance says so. Any other questions?
Everyone's so quiet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I like trains.
I like trains.
Oh no.
Rebecca, do you like trains?
No, I do not.
You don't like trains?
Loves trains.
You love trains.
Love trains. I got her a train set for Christmas. She threw it at me.
I can't breathe again. That face.
I don't know. I think trains could be.
Have you played Resident Evil 0? Play Resident Evil 0 and you will understand it starts on a train.
Zombies on the train, never fun. trains running over.
What about zombies on a plane? Zombies on a plane? So bad.
That sounds like a bad spin-off movie.
Oh wait, no, wait. We've seen this happen.
Oh,
This generation, we've seen this happen. It crashed into the airport.
Yeah, and they fall out of the plane.
Oh god.
Dude, that was funny. Oh my god.
That was the funniest part of it.
They just start walking out.
Resident Evil Degeneration. It is actually the animated adaptation of the Resident Evil game franchise. It's actually really. Oh, it's okay.
It's horrible.
It's not. It's not great. It's not the best thing ever. But it's
Resident Evil, meaning it's campy and hilarious.
I would say Damnation looks like it's gonna definitely be better.
Only because there's liquors in London.
See, the problem is that you had a Redfield in Degeneration, and that automatically equals campy.
The thing
You
is
had a
that
question,
in Resident Evil 6 trailer,
I don't want to What's up?
Do you have any information on the phases of chaos? Like the initial outbreak and then like how long that takes before the people start panicking? And
Panic? Yeah, actually. Yeah, it depends on how speedy the outbreak is, but if it's a slow outbreak where, it's just initial attacks, it's about 4 months until it incites panic of, that you have a serial murder. And then by then you have a specialized location that is infected. And then if that's not taken care of, it moves to the city. So it's about, that started in April, May, June, July, August, September. About 6 months before, about 4 months before law enforcement gets involved because they think it's a crime spree. And about 6 months before that gets into a citywide outbreak.
Kind of daunting to think about, isn't it? That it takes so long for it to become panic.
It's the government.
Darn that pesky government.
Yeah.
Yes, honey.
In Shaun of the Dead, at the end they kind of make them into pets and stuff. You think that could possibly happen?
If my life is comedy,
Another movie.
if I could have a pet zombie, I would make sure it's chained far away from me.
In the shed.
No arm, no jaw.
With an excellent.
But then you chain a zombie, you could wind up like 28 days later.
Exactly, and then we're all screwed. And not in the fun way.
Another outbreak going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sean Route.
Yeah.
They cut off their jaw. They have no jaw.
If you have the time to hold a zombie down and cut off their hands and pull out their teeth, go
if you're that sadistic to do it to something that was once human,
just you know what? Good luck.
I don't think I would be able to do that to something that was once human. I really don't.
I don't think I could sit there and take the time.
I mean, I know they're not human anymore, but it's just so morbid to think this used to be a human being and now I'm like decimating its body. It's like destroying a corpse, really. And that just creeps me out.
I'm okay with running over zombies, but actually having to hold them down and pull things out of them, I don't know.
Well, what else are you gonna do with your weekends?
Yeah, I'm gonna play my video games until my Xbox dies.
Yeah.
Push-ups.
Your new video game.
Buddy.
Oh, I don't know.
Which tooth can you get first?
Would you use them to train? Find attacks?
It depends. Can you actually get the zombie in an area that you can train it?
No, use it for training.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. Can you get the zombie into an area where you can train on it?
It's like my backyard.
Now the thing is that zombies attract other zombies.
Then I catch them more and train on them.
It's not Pokemon. You can't catch them all.
Only Cody can do that.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it's good.
Oh, are you sure?
It was answered. So.
Oh, okay. Was it my Pokemon reference?
It was.
Yes.
Pokemon
Yes, it
was.
Yes, Forever Alone guy that I apologize for my feelings comment on.
Totally fine. Just wondering about medications and such. I know that you'd need something like painkillers, but what else might you need?
Painkillers are a good thing. I suggest going to Canada and getting codeine.
Yeah.
No, that knocks me out. No.
We're not talking about you. I meant in general. I would also recommend things like allergens.
When it comes to medication, nothing stronger than aspirin for pain or ibuprofen because you don't know how you'll react to that. And your reaction to that does change over time, so depending on exposure, you can get hooked to stuff like that. And then in terms of other first aid, you want, your basic sterilization.
Yes, my new favorite military gift.
Yes.
Has anybody here ever heard or used Quick Clot?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
yes.
That is amazing, and I wish I had thought of it sooner.
It burns like a son of a gun, but
it's useful. If you don't have, you know what was also really nice is this is funny. Speaking of ants, you can actually use ants to pinch, close wounds. This is something you can do you learn it in the desert. If you actually cut yourself, deep enough, and you're in the middle of nowhere, you can actually take ants and pick them up, and they'll bite your skin and actually close the wound. It's not a permanent solution, but it works in a pinch. Mind my pun.
Another thing I would suggest investing on, if you can raid somewhere that would have it, is a quick stitch liquid stitch. I recently had it on my thumb, and it's basically super glue, but it's treated for your skin. And because you're working with stuff that's likely as your melee weapon a blade, where you can accidentally get yourself, you don't want that infected. You want that closed off as quick as possible. If you can stop the bleeding, that stitch will do it. Comes off in 5 days, and it heals the wound.
Neosporin goes a long way.
Neosporin is awesome too.
I don't use Neosporin, and I regret it every moment. What's up, hon? Are you sure? Oh, okay. I'm just making sure. I thought I saw your hand. Okay.
Water purification tablets, if you can find them.
Yes. I was actually going to mention that. So,
yes. Boiling it also helps too.
If you have a continuous burning source, then again, if you have
you can make a fire.
Steel wall and a 9-volt battery.
The filter water bottles.
That too. That thing is amazing.
You especially need to do that stuff in Chicago. Just an FYI, we put bodies in our water here. Yeah.
Ew.
Why do you think it's that green even before St. Pat's Day?
Oh, sad day.
I suddenly am feeling very cautious about the water I just downed for my throat.
You'll be fine.
It's good for you. You're gonna die, yo.
It helps your immune system. You'll be okay. If you're, I hope you're. Oh, I had to sleep with her tonight. Don't tell her that.
Oh, really?
Slash fic.
Yeah, that's how you always get this on the same day. Well, sorry, your dress is Claire and I'm dressed as Steve. It's gonna happen. Any other questions?
I want to talk about you.
What do you think the military's role will be in this? Short term and after a year and a half.
It depends. If we're gonna do what happened in the military in Resident Evil, let's not talk about what happened with the military in Resident Evil.
Yeah,
that was really bad.
No, let's talk about it. Yeah, Leon, let's talk about military and government involvement.
Go save the president's daughter by yourself.
Yeah, go do that.
With no help. And put her in dumpsters.
Yeah, go there. I think it would be very minimal, just because it takes so long to get that attention, even to the citywide. At the most involvement they're going to have is to nuke that city, to get rid of that huge infection.
There's a good reason why Raccoon City is no longer on the map.
Actually, it is on the map.
Shh, we're not going to Kansas.
Also, they'll be more interested in the higher ups.
Like the president.
An honest question. Do you think that the military will honestly take their job over their lives of their family or their friends? Because a part of me thinks if this was a true stage, a stage 3 outbreak, I think you could easily military would easily be
I think that depends. I think that really depends. In my opinion, most of the people I've met who aren't in the military are very gotta save the friends and family, gotta save the pets in times of fire, but you can't save everybody.
Family in the military. I have a lot of family in the military, and in terms of my family, no. I'm being dead serious.
The military is, well, they're not trained for the zombie apocalypse, at least not that I know of. They might be. But the military is pretty trained about disaster situations in general.
Shoot center mass, too.
what I'm like basically touching on is basically almost like the human condition. Doesn't matter about there will be pain.
I think you're talking. The whole thing is though is that there's a different type of psychological conditioning involved in military training.
Well, and
I don't know. I mean, is there some different
You also have to think about what our current military has gone through. A lot of them have a lot of different priorities than what they would have had years ago.
And that's also a double-edged sword because, like you said, we've been, and this might get a little political, but like you said, we've been through 2 wars and all this stuff, and a lot of soldiers are like, we don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing too, is that you have to see, in terms of the military, it's definitely. I think with that involvement, it's going to come down to the individual a lot because of current happenings in the world right now. If it were to like happen within months, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because of the involvement we've had overseas and stuff like that. Some of them have so much PTSD where they are so detached from their families that they don't care. Others reestablish that connection because they needed it. It's definitely down to the individual and where their priorities lie at that point.
That's another thing. Like, and also, like you said, it depends on the individual. It also depends, like, on the job. Like, if you take an infantryman in the army, or like a medic who's seen blood, guts, and gore, and has seen, their fair share of the violence, they might look at it a different way. Or if you take somebody who's like, sitting at a desk all their life and did paperwork, they might be like, oh my God, what the hell do I do?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. And I'm gonna say this now. Have you dealt with the military?
I was. I'm actually former military.
You're former military.
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious because I know you know what you're talking about, but I think a lot of it. I mean, a lot of even the those who are in intel are very well trained in what they do, not just in the combat.
It's what they do, but like most of the time, a lot of the people I talk to that aren't infantry training, they only shot the rifle the one time they were in basic training, and that's it. And they never deal with it again unless it's part of their daily repertoire. So it's like you're basically taking somebody, I fired a gun before, I know what to do, as compared to somebody who's like, this gun is my life, this gun is everything to me, this was, this is what got me through a deployment or whatever. It's like you said, it's all dependent on the individual.
I think it also depends on the situation. Like I think we can't go in and say, hey, this is what the military is going to do, or this is what's going to happen. I think it really depends on the situation in itself. So I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to disagree with you right now on this whole thing because I think there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to the human brain than just simple fight or flight tactics.
Well, it's also, it's like you said, it all depends on the situation itself. It's like a stage 2 outbreak. The military
Bless you. Bless you.
We know what we're doing, but if this is full-on panic, this is, and people also tend to forget, there's not just zombies you have to worry about, you have to worry about other people too.
Well, law enforcement in general also knows how to deal with a panic. I mean, not very well in some cases, but they know how to deal with panic. So I think
law enforcement's very different from the military.
Oh yeah, no, I mean just in general. I think there's a very different thing. Like but the military also knows how to deal with a panic. Again, I can't.
Forces does, and the infantry does, but the majority of the military are just people doing jobs and wearing uniforms. So I think panic would happen. My main concern wasn't with the troops, it was what do you think the orders would be from the higher ups? Do you think they would be sent to keep the bases safe? Would they be martial law? Would they be helping survivors? Or would they be bombing anybody who could be a threat?
See,
orders.
I have no idea. I am unfortunately not military, so I can't necessarily.
That's why you want to get out of the city. Because
it could be any.
Enough, they're gonna bomb it eventually.
It could be a number of them. I mean, you can't really predict that.
Yeah, but like one thing I think honestly that that me personally think I can rely on, and this is not just military, but like everybody in general. If there's like this huge outbreak, even if it's just been going on for months, and there's been building up news for it, people are gonna get scared, more and more scared by the day. So it's like, who's to say that somebody wouldn't lose their mind and just decide, I'm gonna try and just run through this base, or just like basically have this whole group of people in a panic running to military bases, like, protect us, protect us, protect us. Meanwhile, the military is like, dude, we don't have enough to protect all of the people. It's like we barely have enough to protect ourselves. And that's the thing, it's not so much the military that I'm questioning, it's more or less everybody else. It's everyone I'm questioning as far as the chaos factor and the panic factor. And, you know,
That's the fun thing about psychology.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to predict what the human mind's going to do.
Well, in a crisis situation, you can bet 9 times out of 10 a human would try to, you know, would fend for themselves if they obviously couldn't save another person. You know what I'm saying? And who's to say that, you know, they won't do something crazy like, just start chucking bombs at people?
I really don't want people to start chucking bombs at me.
I don't want people to chuck bombs at me either.
He had his arm up, so just
With the way that in general with zombie movies, games, and whatnot, they don't have this established culture of zombie survival, say for generations of what has already happened in the series. Do you think that if it were to happen in real life, it would be lifted by a lot faster since we have things like this and people taking it very seriously?
Actually, the Red Cross did a zombie survival seminar. Like, I'm not even kidding you. They used it to promote, like, you know, actual health stuff, but it's crossed over into that awareness, too. That's another thing that I was considering, is that it's crossed over into that awareness that they know that there's a subculture. And if there is a subculture that's raising these concerns of what's actually going on, it might actually have to be more, you know.
It would be such a long time to make that happen. I think it's like 6 months.
I think a lot more people would ask a lot more questions once that initial, especially those, like, the instance I was using was the whole Resident Evil instance. The attack started in April, and they didn't get into anywhere like the mansion until July. And then from July, the city outbreak was in September.
The internet really wasn't established back then.
Yeah, that's too.
So now, when communication's the way it is, people are going to know.
Yeah.
And then with the subculture too, a lot of us are going to ask questions wondering what's going on. So they'll have to look into it a lot more too.
And then there's going to be internet conspiracies. Actually, the girl with the green phone, you had a question? I'm sorry to, like, point you out on your phone, but...
No, I was just thinking that, like, I mean, in some ways, we end up looking at zombies as more like an invasion. And maybe like looking at more like pandemics might be a better idea. Like we had the influenza pandemic in 1916?
Yeah.
World War I, and people panicked, but they also, I mean, there were cases of towns that isolated themselves and like tried to kill people that came in. I mean, there were very few cases of that. But I mean, in general, people just kind of dealt with it and kept going. I mean, I think that we sometimes, like with the swine flu or whatever, we underestimate our ability to kind of digest whatever's happening and keep going.
I think that's the problem too, is that we as a culture now, with all the medical stuff that we have, we are so germophobic.
Yeah, we over-sterilize, that's why there's super bugs. Have you ever heard of the West Nile virus?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that is always fun to hear about.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a huge one, especially on the West Coast. We heard a lot about it.
Are there still some cases of the West Nile still around?
Yeah, yes, they are still around. But it's not. But the thing is, it's kind of gotten undertaken by SARS and the swine flu, and the next big thing is the bird flu, and all that fun stuff.
Cow disease.
That was my favorite.
We panic over a lot of stuff because we over-sterilize it, because we feel like our immune systems aren't ready for it. And it's the thing is that if we didn't over-sterilize like we do, we probably wouldn't have as many problems as we have encountered recently.
You had a question, Hon?
Yeah, I know you guys said that zombies rely on their smell. So in theory, would you be able to do what they did in The Walking Dead, as in like smear yourself in like your guts in order for you to smell like that?
No.
If you can like...
No, you do not want to use the guts. What you want to use is ammonia. It's what hospitals use to sterilize. That's why they have that weird smell, is because there is no smell. It actually masks your human musk. Obviously you don't want to get in certain orifices or nothing, but if you cover yourself with enough of it, your smell will be so muted that you could be able to pass somewhere more easily than you would if you just like left it.
It's unfortunately not like Predator. You can't cover yourself in mud and get away. Sad day. But
you won't.
I didn't know the ammonia
You want to look at the things that sterilize and also remove that smell. The reason hospitals use it is because they have the sick and then they die, and you need to give them that smell. That's why it smells so weird in there, because there is technically no human smell. Yes.
Me and my friends were talking about this earlier. They decided zombies were more dangerous. I decided I think I could take on a predator, and aliens are, harder. But I think would you rather be on a world that's maybe had a few predators there, or some aliens here?
No.
Zombies?
To be honest with you, this is the weird direction that this conversation has gone. Xenomorphs are really bad news. They have a very interesting way to see things, and you can't cover yourself up from that. And while on the other hand, you have predators who are very, very honorable in culture and they will commend you if you kill one, but you don't really want to be around a bunch of predators. I know that's weird. I didn't even know how this conversation started.
We are going to take 2 more questions.
I was just asking, would you rather be on a world that was infested with zombies?
Zombies.
Oh, okay.
I think zombies would be easier to handle because the predators have a more advanced weaponry, and xenomorphs have acid blood. So
I saw 2 people with their hands up.
He took off his weapon when the guy wanted, what was that, Arnold Schwarzenegger? What movie was that? I remember one Predator movie where he took off his...
The issue is that the Predators are a country. They have an entire planet behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather fight with someone across the street or go to war with China? Well, in general, keep it up.
And combat.
Well,
each one of them.
Zombies, I'm sorry. We are winding down, so I saw 2 people with their hands up. We're going to take those questions, and then we're going to end for the night. If you want to keep coming back, we do have this panel again tomorrow. We're covering the same stuff, but if you have more questions, feel free to step in and, bring friends. You first, Forever Alone guy.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you're become Forever Alone guy.
It's fine. What I just wanted to ask was about, having melee weapons like a double-edged sword, and going back to the topic we talked about accidentally cutting yourself and using that super glue skin stuff. What should you use to clean off a blade?
I'd use what you use to sterilize your skin, just to be safe. Treat it like a medical implement, and you'll be pretty good.
So something like bleach would do, or?
Research what hospitals use to clean implements. Burn it too. If there's
one good use of fire, it's sterilization.
Yeah, I would sterilize it first with some means or something. Let that settle, wipe it off, burn it for the extra measure. And you.
When you have the zombie apocalypse, this would come up with some people, maybe not everyone, depending on if you stay. How would you desensitize yourself to people you know or family members or something like that?
The team I have, I picked 6 people that I know that if it was us 6 left, I would be glad to know that they're the ones I'm keeping, and that I would be okay with that, knowing that I would lose everyone else I know. You have to have that bond so that you can realize these are the people that matter most to me. As long as my team is okay, I have a support system to deal with that. And you also have to have entertainment stuff to take your mind off of it. You have to realize that even if you do desensitize, you can't fully desensitize yourself to it, but you have to have people that can be a support system, and yet can come to you for support even though you're all dealing with the same issue.
But, what about if, say, your brother is a zombie and you have to kill them?
You unfortunately are going to have to either pull the trigger.
Me and my brother have discussed this. No, we have. He's not on my team. We have separate teams. He is not on my team because he means a lot to me, but at the same time, I have a lot of people that I know, and I can trust him to carry his own for the most part. But we have discussed that if it comes down to one of our teams falling, that for us, we can deal with it because we know each other wouldn't want to be that zombie. And it's us helping that other sibling, even if it's painful. It's the same reason. It's the same way that you like. If one of your older family members is on assisted living, you have to choose to pull the plug. You know, you have to realize that you're taking them out of that situation. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it's depressing. But you have to realize that these are your loved ones. Would they really want to know that they're the ones that would kill you if you didn't shoot them? You have to give yourself that realization of, I don't think they'd want this. And if you know that you're taking them out of that situation, it hurts. It's depressing. But it helps you cope in that way, like in that weird way. So, I cried.
You have my permission to kill me. I'm glad I know that. It actually makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, I still cry. Also, write a lot of poetry. It helps. Email poetry during the zombie apocalypse. You can become an author once it's all done.
That's why there's a zombie haiku book.
Yeah, there is a zombie haiku book. I have it. But yeah, no, that's the best way to cope with it. I think is to know that if they're ones that mean a lot to you, they won't want to be the ones to take you down, you know what I mean? They'd rather you save yourself kind of deal.
You need to discuss it. If you're great, you need to discuss it with later.
You know, people who will understand what you're talking about. If they don't understand, just remember that when it does come up.
I don't know how to feel about that advice.
And that's about it, guys. Because we're trying to get out of here early for the next panel and set up because we like to be polite. Once again, tomorrow, 8 to 8:30.
We'll be here.
I'm not sure when exactly it is, so double check your schedules, but we're back in this room.